It took a while, but after it was announced that he would be paying about $1/3 billion in the New York civil fraud trial, Donald Trump did take to Truth Social to bleat his disapproval of the decision, saying, "The justice system in New York State and America as a whole is under assault. Racist, corrupt AG Tish James," who I will remind you, he refers to as peekaboo. He calls her a racist and he uses a racist slur against her that he made up as like a loophole for racism. Just a reminder, she's obsessed with getting Trump. He has a tremendous business, blah, blah. There's violent crime in New York, so I guess his white collar crimes shouldn't count. It's one of the most elitist stances you can possibly have, that the rich should be fine so long as the poors are committing crime. How dare you come after the rich? And for some reason, the populist MAGA movement doesn't have a problem with that. But he describes the decision as a complete and total sham. There were no victims, no damages, no complaints, only satisfied capital B banks and insurance companies. Great financial statements. The Trump brand is ironclad with disclaimers and blah, blah, blah. All the other side had was a ridiculous $18 million valuation of Mar-a-Lago, blah, 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 a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm gonna remind you, they went through, especially with Eric Trump, individual properties and how much they overvalued them. There was one property, I think it was Seven Springs or something like that, and it was independently assessed as being worth $5 million. So Eric Trump said, we're gonna value it at $161 million because we're going to pretend that there are mansions on the property. There weren't. There just weren't, but we're gonna pretend that they are. And then years go by, they keep being told you really need to stop valuing this at that point. And he kept saying, no, we're just gonna keep doing it. So when he complains about Mar-a-Lago, just bear in mind, they were overvaluing things to like the better part of $1 to $2 billion.
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members. And then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now.
But he's mad. Again, none of this is a defense against what has been alleged. But he's angry, and I'm gonna give you just one more reaction. This is from his legal representative to the media, Alina Habba.
This verdict is a manifest injustice, plain and simple. It is the culmination of a multi-year politically fueled witch hunt that was designed to, quote, take down Donald Trump before Letitia James ever stepped foot into the Attorney General's office. Countless hours of testimony proved that there was no wrongdoing, no crime, and no victim. Given the grave stakes, we trust that the appellate division will overturn this egregious verdict, she writes, and end this relentless persecution against my clients. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. This is not just about Donald Trump, she says. If this decision stands, it will serve as a signal to every single American that New York is no longer open for business.
I mean, the case could be made that this is gonna serve as a signal to people doing business in New York that you can have a little bit more faith in the financial information that is being presented to you. You know, if you're a bank or something, there's gonna be a little bit less chance that rich people are gonna try to lie to you about what things are worth because we're actually going to follow the law. And again, like they're still pretending, like Judge Engoron said, they have no ability to show remorse or understanding of their crimes. It's not disputable that they did this. The paper trail for individual properties is there. They kept being told this is what it's worth, and they kept lying over and over and over again. Sorry, Alina, but that's just what happened with your client.
Like you said, it's nice to see, like you said, the court should restore some faith in you know, operating in this upper echelon of the business realm in New York and proving that you can't just do this, I guess, anymore. Before the verdict came down, realizing how long they had gone about just being this fraudulent and getting away with it for so long, it was part of an ongoing revelation that I had recently when I guess I'm just super naive because, you know, I'm a trailer baby. I don't know about money stuff, but like when I saw all those, remember all those documentaries came out around the same time about like Anna Delvey and Elizabeth Holmes and Tinder Swindler and all those people. I remember watching those when they were out and being like, oh wow, you can just like lie to rich people and you can then just be a rich person if you lie. Like if you're brazen enough and shameless enough, you could just lie your way into being a rich person, you know, and that's been like Trump's MO forever. So 100%. Again, I'm glad to see, you know, this court try to do something about that. Another very brief note from way earlier, you mentioned that racist loophole he had. I feel like 50+% of these people's brain power is devoted to being able to be racist, but with a modicum of plausible deniability. You know, like that's one of their number one pursuits. There ain't no whistle like a dog whistle. They find any way they can to be racist in public, but still be able to act like they're not. So
totally.
Just wanted to throw that note in there.
But I will push back and say he didn't start off. Like Anna Delvey ostensibly started off with nothing. Donald Trump, was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he still managed to bankrupt whatever his dad gave him. And here's the thing. I love the idea that there's no victim. They keep on saying there's no victim. And let this be a lesson to every white collar criminal out there. Let's keep going when it comes to real estate investors, when it comes to the 1%, basically swindling the rest of us. Because when you overvalue your own properties, when you drive up the price of your properties, what does that do to wherever you are, wherever your properties are? What does it do to Manhattan? What does it do to New York City, right? Like there is an impact on that. What does it do when the burden of your bankruptcies is thrust upon the state or on the taxpayers, right? Yep. Like it's BS to say that there is no victim here. It's just that white collar criminals never get nabbed. And honestly, to Trump himself, who said this, like he could have had a very nice life if he just wasn't president. And he really could have. He was a celebrity. The NBC resuscitated his, 80s tired ass from, making The Apprentice. He didn't have to run for president. He could still have $400 million not be facing criminal charges.
Unfortunately, he was as arrogant as he was stupid.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We could be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.